up just to make sure you're not asleep. That's what happened. So I appreciate that as well, you guys. So let's talk about what we need to do in order to move on to the next step. Let me just preface all of that with the understanding that the hardest thing you will ever do in Kyani is make a decision to do it. That's the hardest part. Everything else is laid out in a system, in an action plan. And it's not about reinventing the wheel. We've tried everything. I promise you, in the last 7 years, we've tried everything. Everything. And if it worked, we would teach it. But we know what works and what doesn't. And so it's just a matter of duplicating. In school, we got in a lot of trouble for copying. Here you get paid a lot of money for copying. It's just a matter of doing what other people have done and being on that accelerated path. So first thing to understand is who we're talking to. How many of us feel like we have some good people in our lives? We know some good people. Most of us, we need to start with making a list. So I talked about this a little earlier today, but your Kyani vehicle has to have 4 well-oiled, maintained wheels in order to get you where you want to go. And they need to be moving at the same time, all the time. If you think of your vehicle, if you only have 3 wheels moving, it's not a very safe thing, but it's also not going to get you where you want to go, let alone 1 or 2. So we do 4 basic things, you guys. It's not rocket science, but there are a few things that you have to master in order to get where you want to go. And Kyani is simple, but there's a technique. Because if you don't do it right, it can be one of the most frustrating experiences as well. How many of you guys ever played golf? Looks really easy, right? It's like grass and a ball and sticks, and you hit it and it's supposed to go in this hole, right? That's what it looks like. Then you get up there to golf, and you're keeping yourself from saying every bad word that comes in your brain, or breaking the clubs, or throwing them at someone. So it can be a frustrating experience. And you can play the nicest courses in the world, you can have the most expensive clubs, but until you actually take a lesson, it will be frustrating. Kyani is the same way, which is why it's so important to work with the people in this room, get to the training events as much as possible, but to stay on the path in that system. So again, these are the 4 things that we do. One is we make a list. Everybody wants to skip over this because we think, well, I've got people in my cell phone, I've got a high school yearbook at home, or you think you have a list somewhere else. That's not what we're talking about. Make a Kyani list, and you need to act as if every name that you wrote down is going to pay you $1,000. How many of you guys, if you sat next to me and I said, just write down every name, and every time you write down a name, I'm going to give you $1,000. How many of you guys know you can get pretty aggressive with names on a list, right? You're like, Joe from Taco Bell. I don't know his last name, but I know his name's Joe. And I mean, you're just writing everybody down. The guy that does your dry cleaning, your realtor, your landlord, your best friend from 4th grade. I mean, you're just starting to write down every name possible. I'm not saying you're going to end up talking to all of those people, but give yourself a chance. I mean, actually be committed and disciplined enough to write names on a piece of paper. Because if you're not willing to do that, you're dead in the water before you even started. So stay with us and start making that list. My husband and I sat down and made a list of 200 people when we got started. You know, the average 18-year-old knows over 2,000 people by their first name by the time they're 18, which means if we can't put 200 down, we're not trying, basically. But here we are 7 years later, and we've actually had 23 people get involved in the company with us. And I don't think we ever got past name like 60 or 70 even on the list. There's still that list at home. I still have it in a folder at home. And what's great is those 23 people have turned into 250,000 people, like we talked about earlier. So you do not have to become the pushy, obnoxious sales guy to do well in Kyani. You're not going to become the uncle at the reunion nobody wants to make eye contact with because you're going to end up with a box of knives, right? You're not going to be that guy. All you have to do is find some ambitious, hardworking people. So who are those people? Wouldn't it be nice if they had like a label on their head? Recruit me. I'm your next purple diamond. That would be really fun, actually. That would be nice. It's not going to happen. So you have to get good at recognizing people. Again, my dad is one of the wisest men I've ever met. But he always told me, Becky, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. So I had to learn to apply that with my Kyani business. It didn't make me love them any less. It just allowed me to realize who they were and how they saw things. So we categorize people into apples. I do not know why, but stay with me, this works. Red apples, you guys. Red apples are the kind of people like me, or like Sherry Ka'alaka'i. You could call Sherry and be like, Sherry, let's go see a movie. She's like, okay, let's go. Right? She didn't even have to ask where or when or what time or what awards it won or which theater and does it recline in the seat and what kind of popcorn do they have, and she didn't care. She's just like, yeah, let's go. No questions asked. Those are the kind of people that if you call them and say, hey, I need a favor, they're like, sure, hon, what do you need? Before you even ask what it is. They're optimistic, they're upbeat, they're just fun people to be around, and they really enjoy helping other people. Those are the people you want to spend 80% of your time with. They're the ones that you definitely want to talk to first because you're going to have a better experience when you start your Kyani business. So start with your red apples. How many of you can already think of red apples in your life? Okay, there's also green apples. Those are the people that say, oh, when you say, can you do me a favor? They're thinking, oh my gosh, she wants me to watch her kids. She needs to ride to the airport. I'm going to have to loan them money. You know, that's what's going through their mind. And their first question is, what is it? What do you want? What do I have to do? What's this about? You know, they need information. So your green apples in your Kyani business are going to be the ones that say, you know, I need to try the 7-day trial pack first, or give me the website, or give me the information, give me something. I need to wrap my brain around this. And that's fine. We love green apples, you guys, but you want to spend 20% of your time with green apples because some of them will consume too much of your time. And all you want to do, and there's nothing you can do to get them to the point to see Kyani. They have to come on their own conclusion. My husband is a green apple. He's an adorable, sexy green apple, but he's a green apple. He's an engineer, and he thinks very logically, and the more you try to get him to understand something, the more he's going to push it away, right? If you want him to do something, then he's not going to want to do it, basically. So he has to do his own independent research. He has to see the website. He has to get on a conference call. But what's great about green apples is once they actually see what they need to with Kyani, no one can dissuade them. If they find out Kyani's as great as you said it was, they'll dare someone else to talk them out of how great Kyani is. Like you have a distributor for life. So let them have their time. Just ask them how much time they need. Play on their level. So just ask them, say, okay, you know, definitely do your research, go on the website. Should I call you back in 3 days or 7 days? Like what's going to work for you? I mean, how much time do you need to do the research that you want to do? And then check back with them when you say that. Here's where we mess up. They tell us 7 days, we call them in 3, and then they're out. They're like, I told you 7, why are you calling me? Okay? So play on the green apples terms and just follow up with them when they said. Then we have what are called rotten apples. They're lots of fun. No. Rotten apples are the ones that you call, and again, you could be curing cancer, they don't want to know about it, and they're going to tell you everything that's wrong with it, and you're going to get cancer by trying to cure cancer, and you know, they're going to go off on you. And that's okay. You need to figure out who your rotten apples are, and just get off the phone or get out of the conversation, wish them well, and move on. And then don't go back to that situation again. Still love them, but some people in your life, you're going to have to start loving from a distance to get where you want to go. Because they're not adding value to your goals and your dreams and your hopes. And those people at the end of the day, they're not going to pay your mortgage. They're not going to put a retirement plan together for you. And they're definitely not going to be the ones to encourage you. Here's the hard part. Some of the rotten apples in our life, they disguise themselves as friends and family. Yes, they do. And that's okay. Like I said, you don't think less of them, you still love them. But sometimes, at some point, you may have to have a conversation. I've had to have this conversation with people before, where I just said, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. You know, and it's not in an offensive way. At some point, it can be. Sometimes, because they come at you, they only understand it when you come back at them. And not to the point where you're going to get in an argument, but I have had to tell people, look, this is something that's important to me and to my family, and you don't have to understand it. You just have to love me enough to shut your mouth. And that may sound harsh to some of you, but this is about providing for your family. This is about pursuing something that you're passionate about. And sometimes when you're talking to a rotten apple, that's all they understand. So you'll know with your friends and family how to talk to them, and then again, who to avoid. Does that make sense? How many of you guys know with a rotten apple, you can't convince them to be green or red. You can't go to the grocery store and pick up this rotting apple and be like, get yourself together. Like, you can be green, I know you can. Just try. You can do it. You can't change people. They can change themselves, absolutely, but you can't change them. So just get good at recognizing where people fall into You probably don't want to say, I can get off the phone, you're a rotten apple, I'll talk to you later. But just move on, okay? Does that make sense, you guys? So when you're making your list, kind of start to realize what category people fall into and try to spend 80% of your time with red, 20% of your time with green, and how much time with the rotten apples? Zero. Again, it'll all work itself out later, and everybody loves each other, but you need to get where you need to go, and that's fine. Second thing that we do, so one, we make a list. Second thing we do is we get customers. These products are phenomenal, you guys, and we need to get good at getting them into people's hands. You cannot build a solid Kyani business just by having thousands of distributors with no customers. That doesn't even make sense. The whole point of what we do is to get product in people's hands and build a long-term residual income. So with all of those trial packs that come, how simple is it to just take those 7-day trial packs and say, look, you guys, these products are doing awesome things. You know, I'm going to drop it off to you. I want you to take it, and then I'll follow up. I did that with my mom, and I dropped it off to her, and I followed up in a couple days, and I knew she wasn't taking it. I knew it was sitting in her fridge, and she hadn't taken any of it. And I called her, and I'm like, so are you feeling better? And she's like, yeah, I feel really good. I'm like, yeah. Do you love the taste of it? She's like, yes, it tastes so good. I'm like, don't you love like that chocolatey taste it has, Mom? She's like, oh, it's so chocolatey. Mom, I love you, but you are such a liar. There's no chocolate in the product, so go take it. Okay, I'll take it. So have fun with people a little bit. And then, of course, she did start taking it. She actually dropped 5 pounds her first 7 days taking the product. She's like, if you don't give me more, I'm going to start stalking you. So just get people to create the value, let them know it's important to you. If they don't know it's important to you, it will not be important to them. Does that make sense? So get the product in people's hands, and then the fortune is in the follow-up. You can't just give it away and think that everybody's going to come track you down. You need to do the follow-up and find out who wants to learn more, who wants to be a customer. You know, let's get moving with this. Third thing we do is we put people in front of the opportunity. You get really good at getting people to a presentation. The worst thing you can do is try to recruit people. You go out and you try to do a presentation to people. You try to give them tidbits. You try to give them enough information, you know, where they're as excited as you are. There's no way to do that unless they actually see as much as you've seen. Have you guys ever heard the expression, people only know what they know? Well, right now, you know more about Kyani than they do, so why are we surprised when they're not as excited when we tell them, you know, there's this product, we can all get wealthy together, you just have to tell everybody about it, it's $4.99, you know, it's a network marketing company. I mean, you go into all of these things, and all people heard was blah, 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 $4.99, and then they tune you out. There's no value there. The guy, when I go drive a Mercedes, that guy knows not to tell me the price until I drive that car. He wants me to smell that leather. He wants me to feel how tight the steering is. He wants me to go through the experience before he tells me the sticker price, right? Which, by the way, I like Audi's way better. But he understands that experience. Kyani is the same way. There's no way for people to understand the opportunity unless they've seen it. Your best mindset is no one is interested until they see a presentation. So you get really good at just getting people to trust you enough to look at it. And that's the best thing to tell people. Say, look, I just saw an opportunity that I could not be more excited about. I need you to trust me enough to come check it out. It may or may not be for you. I'm not going to ask you to buy or sell anything, but I am going to ask you to love me enough to look at it. Can I count on you to do that? You're going to have way more yeses going that route as opposed to trying to recruit someone. Plus, when you give out information, they know you. If I tried to recruit my friends and family, oh my gosh, what a joke. They know me as Becky, you know, the blonde that talks really fast, and she's a stay-at-home mom, and she got married at 18, and you know, was grounded half of her teenage life, and you know, that's how they know me. So to try to be an expert on nutrition and a business opportunity, it doesn't make sense. I'd rather have a brand new jade or pearl present to my contacts than me present. Because double red diamond, that doesn't mean anything to anyone. I mean, they don't know what that is. They think you're like obsessed with jewelry or something. Like, they don't get it. So it doesn't mean anything. You have to get good at letting people see the opportunity and then let them make an educated decision for themselves. The other thing is when you send out little dots, people connect it the way they want to, and 99% of the time they'll lump it into the category of, oh, it's one of those things. Because I did. I think there's a lot of people in this room that probably did. So let them see the business plan. If somebody saw that business opportunity, they're not interested, you don't want them to do the business. Because if you have to convince them to do the business, you're going to have to convince them to work. And that's not fun. You need to look at your Kyani opportunity and understand you have a multi-million-dollar business in place. And here's what I would tell you. If you made $1 million investment in your Kyani business, you would probably take it a little more seriously, for one. But imagine if you actually had to employ people to work with you in Kyani. Who would bring value? Who would you be willing to pay to work with in Kyani? Those are the people that you need to talk to first. We call it your chicken list. We talk to everybody that we think we have influence with first, which means you're the most influential person in that group. You want to find people that are going to bring more influence, more network, more ambition. Maybe they have more time, more passion. Those are the people you want to start with, because some great things will happen very, very quickly. It doesn't mean that people won't surprise you, because I'll be the first one to admit I was not on anyone's list. Let's see. College dropout, stay-at-home mom, husband works too much, credit card debt. Yeah, let's put her at the top of my list, right? You just can't prejudge. But you definitely want to start with the people that have influence with you. Meaning they can, you know, obviously you appreciate what they think and you have that level of respect for them. It's amazing how things will even happen even faster. So get people in front of the opportunity. Fourth thing we do. So we're making lists, you guys, customers, getting people in front of the business plans so we can find distributors. Last thing we want to do, which is the hardest one for people to accept, is we get to the events. We go to as many events, trainings, meetings, everything you possibly can. Everything that you can possibly fit in without going bonkers, I guess, and losing everything else in life. You've got to find a balance, but at some point you're going to have to find an imbalance and go through that in order to find a balance in life with Kyani that most people have never even dreamed of before. That has to happen. The unfortunate part is some people will get unbalanced. You know, how do I juggle this and carpool and kids and work and build my Kyani business? And then it gets imbalanced and uncomfortable and they retreat instead of push through it. And the other side is so much prettier than where we were to begin with. You know, the biggest enemy of being great is being good, and it's really easy to settle for good. It's really easy. But great is, it's really great. Great is great. It sounded really smart, huh? Great is great. And there's no way to explain it to people. It's just fun to help them actually experience it. Our events are what builds your business. You can be okay at getting customers, and you can be okay at getting people to do the business, but if you get really good at getting people to the events, you can make millions of dollars in Kyani. Millions. Because it's not a matter of being a motivational speaker. I'm not a motivator. I'm a coach, I'm a teacher. I love sharing the opportunity and the products with people. But if I can put them in front of Scott Yamaguchi, and I can put them in front of Chris Cannon, I can put them in front of Mike Ikagi and Angel Olvera and the founders of this company and all of the events that we do around the world, they'll not only see the motivation, they'll have the confidence, their belief system and what this company offers and the products, especially when they meet the medical advisory board and the scientists, will go through the roof. And when that level of belief is there, then people become unstoppable. And it's the best time management skill. I mean, if you go to an event and you learn all of the skill set of what you need to do to become successful with Kyani, and then you come home and you try to teach it to 10 other people individually, it's going to take a lot of time. Wouldn't it be way easier just to take 10 people with you, learn it all in one day, and then literally let them run? And you get to just direct them. You know, you get to just support and be their cheerleader. And that's really what it's about. Nobody wants a boss. Nobody wants us, or telling us what to do. But we love when people are there to coach us and direct us. I'm also not a fan of playing the telephone game. Have you guys ever played that? You start with a sentence, you whisper it to the next person, it goes through 10 people, and then it comes out a completely different version of what just happened. You know, I said Jack and Jill went up the hill, and these guys came out, Motley Crue danced with giraffes. I don't know. I mean, it gets mumbled and completely different subject. And when you work your Kyani business that way, the same thing's going to happen. If you're reliant on somebody else going to the events, learning the information from the top money earners, from the founders, from the doctors, and then they tell someone else and it comes home to you, it's not the same opportunity. And it's not their fault, it's just we didn't take the initiative to get there. This idea that you have to make $2,000 a month or $10,000 a month before you invest in your own business to go get trained is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. And I'm telling you right now, if you're not willing to go to a training, even off the island, if you're not willing to go to LA or Las Vegas or at some point anywhere in order to build your business and invest, don't do the business. Because you're not going to get where you want to go. And that may sound contradicting to everything else we said, but my job is not to tell you what you want to hear. And it's also not to give Kyani a bad name. I don't want people to get involved just because they're excited and they're hoping to get lucky. We're looking for people that are willing to work their tail off, and they'll make things happen. Because the people that get the luckiest are the ones that work the hardest, that make the biggest sacrifices. It's not easy for anyone to make arrangements for their kids and their business and their finances to go to an event, but the people that did, they're all a part of the $1 Million Club in Kyani, or the 500K Club. And every single leader in this room that makes that kind of income, they don't miss an event. They understand how important it is to not only get their team trained, but to be that teacher as well. Because at some point, someone's going to be looking at you to help lead them where they want to go, and you need to be equipped. Even before the title shows up, even before you are a diamond, you're acting as if you already are, and you're leading a people to that. There's so many leaders in this room that are already double red diamond. The computer just hasn't shown it on the screen yet. But they show up, they put the time and effort, they have the skills, they have the leadership capability. Right now they're just looking for the students. They're looking for the people that want to put that in. We can teach everything, you guys. We can teach you everything about the products, the business, the comp plan. I will teach you how to spell tocotrienols. We will do all of that together. You cannot teach two things. I cannot teach a work ethic and I cannot teach a desire. I've tried. It's really frustrating and it doesn't work. So we're looking for people that already have those two things, and we will teach you everything else. We're going to earn and learn as we go along. We're going to teach you how to swim by kicking you in the water. We're not going to teach you by sitting on the side of the pool and being like, you know, once you get in, it's going to feel wet, and you move your arms like this, and you breathe like this. It's not going to work. They've got to be in the water experiencing it in order to learn it. Same thing with Kyani. You've got to be willing to jump in and have a little bit of faith in yourself. My biggest heartache is when I meet people that don't have enough belief system in themselves to even give themselves a chance to fail or succeed. We should be more afraid of not trying than of failing. And like I said, there is no failing in Kyani. You either succeed or you quit. And if you're just not willing to quit anymore on anything else and you make Kyani your thing, you're never going to be disappointed. It's not going to happen. I can't stand in front of people and guarantee income, but I can guarantee you this. If you put the time and effort that I have into Kyani, there's no reason that you won't make that kind of money. There's no reason that people won't look at you and be like, oh, he was the lucky one. Let people think you're the lucky one, knowing how much time and effort and work you've put into this. And again, go from part-time to full-time to part-time retired at the end of the day. Because if it takes you 5, 6, 7 years to do that, how do you guys think that might be time well spent? How do you guys think that is a good rich quick? Yeah. And there's those capabilities to do it, you guys. A lot of people want to talk about numbers and statistics of how many people reach certain positions and how you get to those places. And Kyani turns those numbers on its head. I mean, I've never seen an opportunity where everyone can succeed. It's just amazing to me. And how you can make great income. But at the same time, I know a lot of people that bought a gym membership and they don't have a perfect body. I don't think the gym cheated them. I think they probably didn't show up. Do you guys agree? I paid college tuition. I didn't end up with a degree. I think I should complain to someone, right? That's not what we're about. We can't guarantee anyone anything. But again, that work ethic with the Kyani plan and the people in this room, you can definitely go make it happen. So we need to get you to Pearl in your first 30 days. Because here's what happens. If we get you to the first position called Jade. Jade is when you have 2,000 points, 2,000 QV in your team. The easiest way to do that is you have 2 customers already. You have your 3 distributors, and they have a couple customers. You're already going to be a Jade in the business, right? Have a home party. Put 10 people in a room. You can get to Jade in one night. Because some of those people will become customers. Some of them will become distributors. You have one home meeting, and you're already a Jade. How many of you guys can do one home meeting to be an average Jade, making $255 a month extra? Would that be worth one night? To make an extra $250 a month. How about we teach other people how to do the same thing? If you actually have if you're a Jade and you help 2 other people reach Jade in your team, so have your home meeting with 10 people, have 2 people that have their home meeting with 10 people, you're already be a Pearl. If we do Pearl in your first 30 days, altogether it's $1,600. So reach Jade, the company pays you a $100 bonus in your first month. The next month they pay you $200, the next month they pay you $300. If we get to Pearl, not only did you make that Jade bonus, but they're going to pay you $500 the first month for reaching Pearl, and $500 the next month. So again, it's an extra $1,600 from the work you did in your first 31 days. I mean, pay off that initial investment,
and then put that money back into your business, you guys. How great would it be if we all had that business mentality where, again, we're not asking you to quit your job. So live your lifestyle the way you have it now and still add to Kyani. And what if you had to put all of your money back into building it? What if you had to put it back into, getting to the events or buying product to share with people or all of those things? You won't have to. But how great the mentality to understand that if you want to succeed, give back and start reinvesting. Because you're investing in yourself, and it's about time to do it. Because if we haven't been doing it today, if it was working, you wouldn't be here today. If what you were doing today was working, you wouldn't be here, right? Because I was in the same place a few years ago. But now it's a matter of changing those things, and it starts with a decision to do it. I would love if I came back in 2 months and I had to hand out 20 new Audis. And I hope it's to the people in this room. That would be a great problem to have. I hope you guys all get to Diamond, and we have to literally rent out the whole cruise ship so that we can get there. How fun would that be? Like a Kyani cruise. That would be really fun. They only need to serve alcohol. We're already all happy people. So it would be a lot of fun. I can imagine every server and attendant being recruited through the whole entire cruise. So we'll have a good time. But we want you guys to be a part of those things. Again, our job is to teach people how to become successful. We're never going to ask you to do something that isn't going to benefit you and your business. That's the whole point. And it's really how the compensation plan even works, is to make sure that there are those success stories. So you guys will stick around, answer any questions all night. It's way past my bedtime, and I'm on like fumes now, so I might start getting giddy and crazy, but we'll stay as long as you guys want to. If not, we appreciate you coming. Let the people know that invited you, how you can get started. They can show you that as well. That fast start bonus of getting to Pearl in the first 31 days, it only applies to distributors with a start date in the month of April. So get started now. That doesn't mean wait till April 30th to sign up, because here's what's going to happen. If you wait till April 30th to sign up, you have a home meeting and your friends come on May 1st, and they find out that you made an extra $1,600 for signing up a day earlier. They're like, why didn't you call me yesterday? Right? So why not have that opportunity with your team as well? And again, you guys, go put people in a room. The people will be here to show up and do the presentations for you. Put them to work. I know how hard they work, and they're eager to do it. So God bless you guys. We appreciate you coming. We love being here as well. So thanks, guys.